Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series. Hey guys, it's Adam here, and recently I took a trip up to Toyratt, which is an awesome video game store in Milton, Ontario, Canada. Like an idiot, I forgot my camera, so sorry, this was all shot on my phone. So I thought I'd give you guys a more personal look at the store, more of a post-production audio tour. Now, there's boom boxes you saw in there, and this is, of course, the office. If you guys saw my other Toyratt video, then you kind of already know the layout of this place, but I figured, what the hell, let's take another look at it, because I had some extra footage. So again, this is the wall where, the high demand games, the ones that a lot of people would be looking for, would be right out here on display for you to just go ahead and find, your Resident Evils, your Final Fantasies, that kind of stuff. The things that a lot of people just want straight from the get-go. But inside the store, of course, you have all the other assorted things. Like, I like the fact that he has a lot of replacement parts, for your controllers or tools like game bits and all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. Of course, lots of N64s and GameCubes in stock. A lot of Nintendo 64 games as well, and a lot of collector's editions and things up there. And PSP titles. He's got a surprisingly high amount of those now. I don't recall him having that many the last time I was in here. Of course, he's got a bunch of various controllers. There's actually a Dreamcast controller there I don't have, which is pretty cool, but I didn't bother to get it. Some Transformer stuff up there you saw. I love Skylinks from Transformers. It's really cool. Book jackets with Game Boy games and stuff, a lot of consoles. He now, since the last time I was here, he decided to really get into movies. So he's got a lot of DVDs and a lot of Blu-rays available, which is pretty neat. There's of course more collector's editions and boxes and stuff up there. More games, a lot of the 7th gen stuff here. The Xbox 360, the Wii, the PS3 one lone Wii U game back there. But a lot of cool stuff in there. And then this is kind of the 5th gen area to some extent. 4th gen, 5th gen. You also have the Dreamcast, which is 6th gen. But you got a lot of Sega Saturn, Sega CD, Turbo Graphics, 3DO, Jaguar, stuff like that. In these cases, lots of memory cards, expansion packs, all sorts of stuff. And just more obscure things like the little Tiger handhelds, N-Gage, PSPs, a lot of handheld stuff in there, but also some rarer titles. A lot of handheld games like this. Again, these are kind of like the games that people might be, seeking out, but they're for portables usually, so, they're too small to put up in front. So you put them in the cases like this. Makes sense. I think he keeps Britney's Dance Beat for the PS2 in there. It's just a joke. He's got Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii, because I know that's a pretty rare one. This thing, which is some sort of Canadian exclusive, apparently. I don't even remember the name of it. There's an Atari 2600 down there, 3DS games, and Atari Lynx in the box, which really caught my eye. Model 1. I don't have that. It's pretty cool. Ninja Turtles issue number 1. I think that's the 3rd edition, though. DS, all your Pokemon stuff, some action figures. I thought they were Mork and Mindy. It turns out they were the $6 Million Man. Wii Mini there for a moment, which was at one time a Canadian exclusive. It is no longer. Lots of other various portable games. As I mentioned before, lots of Sega CD and Sega Saturn stuff. As well as he's got some Japanese stuff there as well for both of those consoles, Mega CD and Japanese Saturn as well. Lots of various controllers, a lot of 3DO there. And here he's got a crap ton of GameCube and especially Xbox. Lots of Xbox. But they're all over the place. So there's a lot of titles in there. So you could spend a good chunk of the day just looking through there trying to, get a bunch of games off your checklist. It's pretty impressive. And then, of course, he has a crap ton of PS2 as well. So that's incredibly neat. Just the sheer amount of consoles and games he has there, plus 3 different versions of the Xbox, not including the regular one. A giant wall of original PS1 games. I mean, look at this. That's really something there. Now over here, he's got boxed and loose Super Nintendo games. A lot of the 4th gen stuff here, but also box games for the N64 as well. Some box DS, Game Gear. A lot of various consoles you saw there. Some NES clones and legit NES stuff, Famicom stuff, N-Gage stuff actually. Boxed NES over here. and loose NES, of course. A lot of Sega hardware in there. You may not have noticed it earlier, but there's actually a little cleaning center. Like they will clean the discs before you go if you ask them to. It's pretty neat. A lot of Genesis, aka the Mega Drive. Jaguar stuff, more loose Genesis stuff, a lot of stuff from the 70s. A lot of the Atari 2600 stuff comes up there, and ColecoVision. There's some of the Master System stuff. Granted, that's not the 70s, but yeah, there you can see some of the loose carts for 70s consoles like Intellivision and Atari 7800. 2600, no 5200. He's really looking for those. He's willing to pay cash money if you walk into that place with an Atari 5200. But yeah, he's got ColecoVision, all those things. And here's where he keeps like new inventory in case you come here regularly. Before they put all the stuff away, they kind of let people see what the new stock is. So there you go. He's also got comics and vinyl there in the middle. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys a more intimate tour of the store. But I highly recommend going and watching the original tour because Toyratt himself, he is quite the character.
Pretty neat store, right? I figured I would attach to this video all the pickups I got there rather than make you wait until playload. The first thing up, which I was going to save until last, is this. This is the Mountain Dew limited edition original Xbox. But the reason I'm not bothering to save it is because this was revealed in the tour video, so what the hell, I'll just show it to you up front. This is it was a promotional item, obviously in conjunction with Mountain Dew. I guess the way this worked was that you could buy Mountain Dew and there was like little codes and then you would like submit the codes, you'd get some points, kind of like a Club Nintendo type of thing, and then you could redeem it for this. I guess they sold out almost immediately. Supposedly only 5,000 were ever made. And he had one with the box and everything, and he hooked me up with it. He gave me a really good deal on it, and I'm obviously not bothering to show you the box because it's not that interesting, but the console itself is pretty cool. A lot of people hate the color of it. Personally, I like it. I think it's pretty neat. But speaking of original Xbox, we have some games. Now, part of the reason I think this console looks pretty neat is it actually is almost identical to the color of the cases. So, I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. But, yeah, it's neat to have a limited edition original Xbox. I've never actually had one, so that's really cool. But some games. Now these are games that just kind of caught my eye for one reason or another. Either they were cheap, they're games I didn't have, you know, that kind of thing. They look somewhat interesting. First up is Constantine, then Final Fight Streetwise, Rayman Arena, Torque the Prehistoric Punk, World War II Combat Iwo Jima, and Voodoo Vince. So those are all my original Xbox pickups. But that, of course, was not all that I picked up there. I got some other stuff. I got some Intellivision games. And the interesting thing about that is I don't even own an Intellivision. I saw one recently in a store. I passed on it. I think I'm going to go back and get it because, obviously, I picked up these games. When I see Intellivision stuff here, which is rare, it's usually a couple of sports games. So I've never been that motivated. But Toyratt actually has a really big selection of Intellivision games. So I just picked out some that caught my eye because they were all super cheap, and yeah, so they were funny or interesting for one reason or another. And hopefully by the time I go to pick up that Intellivision, it's not gone. That would suck. The first up is Beauty and the Beast. This is not based on the Disney movie. It predates that by quite a bit. This actually, I'm sure it's based on the traditional story of it, but the artwork is why I picked it up. It's hilarious looking. It looks kind of like Rampage with a big building. There's a big monster there, and he's like holding a girl while someone else is trying to climb up and save her. It doesn't look like anything I would associate with Beauty and the Beast. It looks more like Rampage, I don't know, or Wreck-It Ralph type of thing. I don't know, it was just funny to me. Next up was Burger Time, classic game. Donkey Kong, I think we're all very familiar with. So, you got the Intellivision version. And Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, all for the Intellivision. But that was not the end of the 70s games I picked up. No. I got another one. It was Cracked for the Atari 7800. I very rarely see Atari 7800 stuff. Since I'm lucky enough to have one, I figured just if I find a game and it's at least reasonably priced, I generally pick it up, which is not very often. But this one looked especially unique. I've never even heard of this one. Usually you can tell because it's like ports of like Galaga and Pac-Man and stuff, but in this case, Cracked looks totally unique. It features an egg. It kind of looks like Humpty Dumpty's really had a bad day. I don't know. I have no idea what this game's about. It just looked interesting. But I got some other Atari stuff. I got Atari Jaguar games, which is very rare for me. I don't get to pick those up much either. This is, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, Val d'Isère, I'm pretty sure it's French, skiing and snowboarding. These are all boxed and complete, very good shape. Ultra Vortec, not Ultra Vortex, Ultra Vortec, which appears to be some sort of Mortal Kombat clone. And Defender 2000, this is actually a pretty rare one, and he gave me a really good deal on it, so I was really happy to pick that up. But that's not the end of the games. I got this. This is Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 2 for the Sega Saturn. This is a Japanese release, but one of the reasons it caught my eye was because it has this unique case. It's not a standard jewel case. It's just got like this big art book kind of thing in there. And the other reason it caught my eye is because somehow I ended up having the first and the third, but never had the second. And he had it for some strange reason, so went ahead and got that for sure. And that was the end of the stuff I picked up on my own, but then I was given some stuff, which was pretty nice. The first thing I got was this. This is Mega Man. One of his employees works there, and he just gave this to me for free. Because he runs a reproduction site, I believe it's called retrobrothers.com. You can Google it, I'm sure you'll find it. And what this basically is they took the NES game and they added better music and better sound effects and so on, and then they ported it to the TurboGrafx 16 CD. Now that's pretty neat. I don't even own that console, but if I ever have it, I'll have a game right out of the gate, and what a game to have. It's a very high quality reproduction. It has a manual, it has printed artwork, it has printed artwork on the back as well. Overall, it was a very high quality product, and he didn't have to give this to me for any reason. He just said, oh, here you go, I think you might like that. So if I ever get a TurboGrafx CD, which I hope I get to do at some point, I'll be all set. And finally, when I was wandering around the store, I was staring at something and looking at it, and he's like, you like that? And I was like, yeah. He's like, take it, it's yours. So I'm going to show it to you. It's something that I've wanted for a very long time, I've never had it, and yet I've had it all my life. It is a Japanese Sega Mega Drive, aka Sega Genesis. That's why I've had it all my life. I've had plenty of Sega Genesis, but I've never had a Japanese Sega Mega Drive. I actually only got a European Mega Drive only a few months ago. Model 1. In decent shape, not too bad. I'm going to clean it up, make it look all nice and neat. But interesting thing about there's a couple interesting things about this console is that the cartridge shape is different, so traditional Sega Genesis and European Mega Drive games will not fit in there without an adapter or without like cutting the sides, which I'm not going to do because I don't need to play Sega Genesis games on this thing. It also is substantially lighter, like maybe like a third less than a traditional Mega Drive or Genesis Model 1. And I'm not entirely certain of this, but I think the reason is that there's no RF shielding inside for different video standards that Japan had at the time, or technical standards, I guess I should say. So as a result, it's much lighter. But very cool to finally have one of these. So hopefully I can do a cleaning and restoring video on this. I would like to do that. We'll see. My big opposition to that is this little LED. If you've ever taken apart Model 1 Genesis, you have to disconnect it, and I've always had a pain in the ass time trying to do that, so I don't know, we'll see. But either way, that is all of my Toyratt pickups. I want to thank him very much for being a very courteous host, because he let me hang out at his store all day, and for hooking me up with, of course, the Mega Drive and giving me good deals all around. So, and I want to thank you guys for watching. I also want to thank Mike and Julian and Scott and just everyone else who came out to the store there was like 6 or 7 people that came out. That was really cool of them to do that. So regardless, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all later.